Today, I'm going to be ranking every single Call of Duty multiplayer in a tier list format. S is going to be the best, F is going to be the worst, and the farther left a game is in its tier, that's the better games, while the right is the weaker games in that tier. I am going to be ranking this specifically based off of multiplayer, and it's my list. I'm going to copy Tim the Tatman here. It is my list. There are going to be people that, of course, disagree with my opinions. This is multiplayer based off of my personal experience. If you guys want to play along and then make your own tier lists in the comment section below, you very well can do so. There are some changes to the games that I'm going to make based off of how I'm ranking them. I'm not going to be ranking Call of Duty 1 through 3 just because I've never played them enough to actually form a solid subjective opinion on if I like their multiplayers or not. So we will be starting from COD 4 all the way till Cold War, and COD 4 and Modern Warfare Remastered are going to be considered the same game. So I'm going to bundle COD 4 and MWR together, and included in Black Ops 4's ranking, I'm going to take into consideration Blackout, and I'm actually going to separate Warzone from Modern Warfare 2019, since I think Warzone is its own multiplayer experience within Call of Duty right now. And with that being said, let's get into it. And the first game I'm going to rank is COD 4 Modern Warfare, and this is just going straight into S tier. It's one of my favorite Call of Duties of all time. I love the simplicity of the game. I love everything about it. I don't hate a single map in the game or a single gun in the game. I love playing it in MWR. I love playing the original COD 4. Everything about this game I just absolutely love, and it's going straight into the S tier. I mean, it's one of those CODs for me that I don't even have to think twice about when ranking it. I just know it's going straight to the top. Just love the game overall. I know a lot of people like Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 more than COD 4, but I think COD 4 is one of my favorites, not only just in the Infinity Ward Modern Warfare saga in general, but the franchise overall. Next up, we got Call of Duty World at War. I was never a huge fan of this Call of Duty. I know a lot of people really enjoyed it back in the day, but when I was playing COD 4 and World at War came out, I played World at War for a little bit and then just went back to COD 4. I wasn't one of those players who was playing World at War throughout the entire life cycle. I actually didn't even start playing World at War until Black Ops came out, and then when Black Ops Zombies was the thing, I was like, oh, I really want to go back to World at War and play zombies. But in a multiplayer aspect, I'm not a huge fan of it. It's okay. It's not very memorable for me. I know lots of people that are OG COD fans will die on the hill defending this game as one of the best. But for me, it's just an average Call of Duty. Nothing sticks out for me. The weapons were okay, but it's just you'll get killed by the MP40 the entire game. Like if you go back and play World at War now and you get in a lobby where there are no hackers, you're just gonna get melted by MP40s. And even back then, it was MP40 zone. Everyone was using the MP40. There were some people that would snipe, and there was an okay game overall. The Call of Duty community wasn't as into this game either at the time compared to COD 4, because COD 4 was so revolutionary at the time that everyone was continuing to play the game, and I was one of the same. I never actually owned this game at the time. I would always play it at friends' houses, and once I picked up my PS3 and bought it, I still just didn't really play this game. So I'm gonna throw it into C tier for now. It might change at the end, and I want to say this right now, I might make some changes at the end overall to balance things out depending on where I put what. But World at War for me, it's a super generic, just average Call of Duty, sitting in C tier. Next up, we got one of the fan favorites of all time, which is Modern Warfare 2. And this is where I know I'm gonna ruffle some feathers because lots of people love the multiplayer, and I'm not calling the multiplayer bad whatsoever. I love the multiplayer too. There is something that we'll talk about in a little bit, which is why I'm going to put Modern Warfare 2 in A tier rather than S tier. I know everyone loves this game, using the burst FAMAs and getting AC-130s and Harriers and the tactical nukes, and there's so many good things about Modern Warfare 2. It has great maps, even the DLC maps are really great, the base weaponry is really great, but the only issue for me is a little bit of the balance. One-man army noob tubes are very annoying, and a lot of the really strong weapons like the ACR kind of outclass every single gun in the game, and there wasn't really any balancing because we had the whole Infinity Ward Activision butting heads the entire time, so the game didn't get the development that it should have received during the game. If the Infinity Ward studio pretty much didn't quit and form Respawn Entertainment at the time, I think Modern Warfare 2 would be way better if it actually saw balancing patches. Like, The game's super fun, and it's still a really good COD. I will go back to load up my PS3 and actually play Modern Warfare 2. I just don't like the multiplayer as much as everyone else does, but I definitely can see why people absolutely love it and would put it S tier. And this is my list. That's all I'm gonna say. I would put Modern Warfare 2 in the A tier. Following Modern Warfare 2, we have the original Black Ops game. This was a fun multiplayer. It had some really good maps. A lot of the maps we would actually see remade or remastered in every single Treyarch Call of Duty ever. Nuketown, I'm looking at you. Summit has also been put into Black Ops 3 and 4, and I'm not going to be surprised if it's put into Cold War at some point as well. But Black Ops 1 was a pretty good experience, had some decent guns. It was a little bit of a clunky Treyarch Call of Duty because that's what Treyarch was known for at the time. Modern Warfare was known for the smoother kind of gunplay Call of Duties, and then Black Ops was a little bit clunky. I had fun with the game overall. I didn't have any issues with it whatsoever. I just, comparing it to every Call of Duty in history, I'm going to throw it in B tier. Black Ops 1, a great Call of Duty, super nostalgic for me. I have lots of memories of split screening and playing with friends in private matches and playing hide and seek and doing all sorts of fun stuff within the multiplayer. But it's just, compared to every other Call of Duty, I have to throw it in B tier. That's just how it's going. And next we have Modern Warfare 3. Now, remember when I said Modern Warfare 2 was an A tier for a reason? It's because Modern Warfare 3. I'm throwing Modern Warfare 3 top of S tier for me. Now, a lot of people are gonna be like, well, why do you like Modern Warfare 3 more than Modern Warfare 2? MW3 was the Call of Duty game that got me into the franchise. It was the first Call of Duty game that I ever owned myself personally, so I didn't have to split screen with anyone or just take turns playing at someone's house. It was the first game I ever owned and was the Call of Duty that got me into just Call of Duty as the franchise in general. I loved the game. It was so much fun to play. It's really what solidified me in the Call of Duty community as like an active member of someone who would buy every game. I love the maps, love the guns, and the thing with MW2 is a lot of people actually say Modern Warfare 3 is pretty much just Modern Warfare 2 with different maps and different weapons, and that's exactly why it's S tier for me. Modern Warfare 2 is a great multiplayer experience, but Modern Warfare 3 is a more polished version of MW2. You got the mob, specialist system, infected, all or nothing, all the party game modes. It's just my favorite multiplayer of all time. It's gonna sit top of S tier. I know for a fact I won't have to change that later in the video. Next in the sequence of Call of Duty, we got Black Ops 2. This is also going into S tier. I'm gonna put it below the Modern Warfares. This was the time that I was really enjoying Call of Duty. For my age, I was 12, 13 years old at the time, so all of my friends after school, we'd go do our school sports and our extracurricular activities, go play outside, and then once we had dinner, we would all do our homework, and then we would just sit and play Call of Duty for the rest of the night. There were even days where we would get home from school with nothing to do after, on rainy or snowy days here in Canada, and we would just sit and play Black Ops 2 and Modern Warfare 3 and just Call of Duty. And Black Ops 2 is one of those Call of Duties where I just have so much nostalgia for it, and a lot of people really like this game as well. It's a top tier Call of Duty. Multiplayer was great. It had the first mastery camos other than gold, which was the diamond categories. Great maps. I almost said great maps. I'm gonna change that statement to good maps. There were some maps like Drone that were just completely boring and just not super fun to play at the time, but the game was super fun overall multiplayer wise, and it's one of my favorite Treyarch Call of Duty multiplayers of all time, and it's definitely going to stay S tier for me. Here's where things start to take a turn in the Call of Duty franchise. We had a lot of games right after Black Ops 2 that flopped, and the first one that came out was Call of Duty Ghosts. Now, I was really excited for Ghosts because I was thinking Ghost was going to play a lot like Modern Warfare 3, and since Black Ops 2 was so good and Modern Warfare 3 was so good, I had really high expectations for Ghost, and Ghost just didn't meet those high expectations for me. Looking back in a retrospective of the game isn't as bad as everyone said at the time. If you compare Ghosts to games like Infinite Warfare, a lot of people are going to like Ghosts over it. And thinking back on Ghosts and playing it, I just don't think it holds up. I'm gonna throw it in C tier, behind World at War. Once again, I know there's people that love Ghosts. I definitely enjoyed it at the time, but I think the only reason I really enjoyed it at the time of launch is because I was just a huge COD fanboy, and coming off of the Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 2 train, I enjoyed COD so much then that I think it carried over and lingered into COD Ghosts. So I was enjoying Call of Duty as a whole rather than just the game. Wasn't really memorable. I'm throwing it C tier just because it didn't have anything that made it like extremely bad that deserves D or F. Now we're talking about the first advanced movement Call of Duty we've ever seen, and that's Advanced Warfare. I'm throwing this right into D tier. It is one of my least favorite COD multiplayers of all time. I didn't like the exo movement, and I just don't like advanced movement to begin with in Call of Duty. I didn't like the weapons, didn't like the maps, didn't like the movement, didn't like the mechanics, didn't like the score streaks or the kill streak system. The only thing I had fun with in Advanced Warfare was Infected, because in Infected you had the exo suits, and it was a lot more different than what we've seen in previous Infected games like Ghosts and Modern Warfare 3. So really the party game modes are the only thing I liked about Advanced Warfare. I did have some fun. I got to 10th Prestige, and it was refreshing playing a new movement system, but as Advanced Warfare has aged, it hasn't aged like a fine wine for me, and I'm just throwing it D tier. And a lot of people would put it F tier, but I think later on in the video you'll see why I'm putting it in D. Next we have Black Ops 3, and I honestly really didn't enjoy the multiplayer that much. Black Ops 3 for me was a Treyarch zombies game. I focused so much on zombies that I didn't like the multiplayer whatsoever. I also didn't like the multiplayer when the game first came out because I wasn't a huge fan of the exo and advanced movement systems. I wasn't a huge fan of the weapon arsenal. I know lots of people like the dark matter grind, and it was super cool into the game, and I'll admit that I actually tried to go for dark matter at one point before zombies became a really huge thing after the release of Der Eisendrache. But multiplayer wise, I just wasn't a fan. I know there's a lot of people that like Black Ops 3, but in my personal opinion, the people that like Black Ops 3 as a multiplayer experience, and I'm talking like they would put it like S or A tier. My theory is the people that like Black Ops 3 and would put it S or A tier were either have never played a older Call of Duty and Black Ops 3 was their first Call of Duty ever. They might have been 12 years old at the time, or they became Fortnite kids. I have I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I genuinely think that a lot of the kids that went from Black Ops 3 to Fortnite really just love Black Ops 3 because of the gaming community for them at the time. It's the same way for me how when I look back at Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 3, and Black Ops 2, I love those games and nostalgia hits me pretty hard because it was just my age at the time I was so young and didn't have to worry about anything. So I think that people that look back on Black Ops 3 with those rose tinted glasses really were young at the time, or were that was their first game into the series, and they had the COD effect where the first COD you own tends to be your favorite because that's the game that gets you into the series overall. But for me, I'm throwing this below Advanced Warfare in the D tier. I also didn't like the hero system whatsoever in Black Ops 3, and that's all like the specialists and stuff. I know Overwatch was huge at the time, so hero shooters were becoming popular, and this was Call of Duty's take on implementing hero shooters into Call of Duty, and I just wasn't a huge fan. I also just didn't like the advanced movement systems anyway. Up next, we have Infinite Warfare multiplayer, and this is just going straight into F tier. I literally have 14 hours played of Infinite Warfare multiplayer. I hated it ever since I loaded the game. It felt like a watered down version of the Black Ops 3 multiplayer. It had better exosuit movement than Black Ops 3, and it was way more refined there. So the movement in Infinite Warfare is great, and it's so much more polished than Black Ops 3, but it's just so unmemorable for me. The space maps were cool for a game like Titanfall, but for a Call of Duty game, it was just not intriguing whatsoever, and it pushed me away from the Call of Duty series at the time. Thank God that MWR was the pre-order bonus for like the super expensive edition of the game, because instead of playing Infinite Warfare, I spent that entire year playing MWR and Black Ops 3 Zombies. Infinite Warfare, just F tier multiplayer for me. Did not like the experience whatsoever. No redeeming qualities in it for me, and the metas were super boring, where it was that weird like commando M4 gun that everyone would always use. Then the DLCs and all the DLC microtransaction guns they added into the game too, just not a huge fan there. It's just F tier all the way. Now we're hopping into World War II. I didn't mind World War II multiplayer. I know a lot of people had issues with it at launch, and it took them all the way to like the mid-life cycle update where they completely did just like the craziest quality of life changes to multiplayer that made the game a lot better, I must say. But I honestly didn't hate it at the beginning too. I did the mastery grind for the chrome camo, got to master prestige level 300. I just really enjoyed the game. And unpopular opinion, I think shipment in World War II is the best shipment map. It just plays the best compared to any previous like COD 4 MWR game, and it plays way better than the Modern Warfare 2019 shipment. I honestly was a huge fan of the supply drop system too, because you earn supply drops so easily, and you could get up to like 20 free supply drops a day. And with your salvage, just like the MWR microtransaction system, you could buy any DLC weapon that you wanted. And I don't know if you could unlock DLC weapons in any way, shape, or form other than supply drops, but this was one of the games where it wasn't hard to get the DLC weapons whatsoever, so there honestly wasn't any holdback for me there. I like the guns. The maps were okay, they were interesting. I loved the infected and then all the zombie game modes that they've added to the game when there was that huge zombie event, because I was a huge zombies fan at the time, so that is a huge plus for me. I had fun with the game overall, but comparing it to every Call of Duty, I'm going to throw it into B tier. I think it's a better World War II shooter multiplayer wise than World at War. It's not great by any means, but it's also not bad. So it's just gonna sit bottom of the B tier. It's not quite C with World at War and Ghost for me, but it's not quite top of B with Black Ops 1 for me. Next up on the tier list ranking, we have Black Ops 4. Everything that I didn't like about Black Ops 3's multiplayer, Black Ops 4 did it even worse. Minus the movement system. I did not like how the hero system took main stage in this game compared to Black Ops 3. The specialists became free kills for anyone. The reason I didn't like Black Ops 4's multiplayer is I didn't like the health. I didn't like that you had to auto heal, and the time to kill was so long because everyone had 150 health. And you could say, oh well, Cold War has 150 health today, but the thing is the weapons do so much more damage on Cold War than they do in Black Ops 4. So 150 health in Cold War feels normal. Like, it doesn't feel like Black Ops 4 did. Black Ops 4's time to kill was super slow compared to previous Call of Duties. And I just didn't like the maps, didn't like the weapons, because they were still that futurist, like they were trying to be real world weapons, but just futuristic versions of them. Wasn't a huge fan of that. Dark Matter grind for Black Ops 4 was interesting. I got super close. I think I literally just need launchers and snipers, and then I would have Dark Matter in Black Ops 4, at least multiplayer wise, because I have it in zombies. But I just didn't like Black Ops 4. And I said I would include Blackout. I loved Blackout. If I was ranking Blackout just on its own, I would throw Blackout in A or B tier. But since the multiplayer brings it down, I'm going to put like, this is where it's weird, because if it was just multiplayer opinionated without the Blackout influence, I would have Black Ops 4 in the F tier, up just slightly above Infinite Warfare. Infinite Warfare will always be my least favorite multiplayer experience of all time. Black Ops 4's multiplayer is right there with it, but since I'm including Blackout, I'm going to throw Black Ops 4 at the bottom of C tier strictly because of Blackout. If I took away Blackout, it's F tier, but if I'm including Blackout, it's C tier. I hate the multiplayer experience, but since Blackout was a different version of the multiplayer experience that was included in the game, gotta put it C tier. But honestly, if it wasn't for Blackout, this would be straight in the bid. Now we have Modern Warfare 2019. I've voiced my opinions lots of times on this game on the channel, whether I like it, whether I don't like it, if I like Cold War more than it. And a lot of you guys know that Modern Warfare 2019 is a good multiplayer experience, but it's not my favorite. I am going to throw it at the top of B tier. I like Modern Warfare 2019's movement system. I think everyone knows that the mechanics of the movement system and audio systems or audio drivers and graphics in the game is the best Call of Duty has seen to date. I think it would be stupid if I said, oh, I don't like the movement of Modern Warfare 2019. I love the movement. It's so smooth. It is the best Call of Duty engine to date. But multiplayer experience wise, I'm going to throw it B tier. I like the game, don't get me wrong. I had lots of fun grinding Damascus, but Modern Warfare 2019 has just turned into shoot the ship 24/7 ever since that was released, and that's what majority of the people play. I honestly wish that shoot the ship was never introduced into the game, because then people would be playing a large variety of maps. There were about half the maps that I really enjoyed and then half the maps that I didn't. I was really 50-50 with the maps. So when I would play games like Headquarters, because Headquarters was the main game mode I played, since I loved it so much in Modern Warfare 3 that I just wanted to play it so much in Modern Warfare 2019. I wish there was more variety of maps in the game, and I feel every time I log on to grind Damascus for the second time, it's just shoot the ship, because that's really the best place to grind your weapons, because you're going to complete them there the fastest, and it would be stupid to do it anywhere else. But I can't put it in A or S tier, because I think there's just games that are way better than it. I know lots of people are going to hate this, but I'm going to throw Cold War above Modern Warfare 2019 in the B tier. I really enjoy Cold War. Do I think it's a great Call of Duty? No, but I also don't think it's a bad Call of Duty. It's above average in my perspective, and comparing it to Modern Warfare 2019, it's a more diverse experience, and I like the arcadey feel of Cold War more than Modern Warfare's gameplay-wise. If Cold War had the Modern Warfare engine and played the exact same arcadey playstyle that it has right now in the game, with the variation of game modes from like Prop Hunt, all the party game modes, 12v12, hardcore, I don't even like, there's so many game modes in the game that I just switch between combined arms, all stuff like that. If it had the variety of game modes and maps in the game that it does now, and had the Modern Warfare engine, I would be throwing this in A tier, possibly S behind Black Ops 2. But just because it doesn't, and it does have its issues here and there, and SBMM is a huge issue in the game, even though it doesn't really affect me as much anymore, I'm throwing it top of B tier. I know it's going to make people upset that I have it above Modern Warfare 2019, but that's my placement overall. And that leaves us with the last Call of Duty multiplayer experience, Warzone. There's a part of me that wants to put it in S, but another part of me that can't let it go in S tier. So I'm going to put it ahead of Modern Warfare 2 in the A tier. There's something about Warzone that is extremely addicting for an OG Call of Duty fan like me. It switches up the style of Battle Royale and gives it that Call of Duty feel. The objectives, bounties, scavengers, flag recons, all those things give it a Call of Duty feel, because all of those like contracts that you can pick around the map emulate some form of multiplayer game mode, so it makes you feel like you're not only playing a battle royale, but a Call of Duty battle royale with Call of Duty multiplayer experiences within them. And if you think about the recons, they're capture the flags or domination, whatever flag capture game mode that you can think of, that's what recons are. And that's just one example I'll give, but it gives you that Call of Duty multiplayer feel. Now, there are things that stop me from putting it in S tier. If the metas were balanced the entire time and we didn't see anything like the Cold War Season 1 and 2 broken metas and some of the broken metas that we've seen in Modern Warfare, if the game was balanced the entire time, even during the Cold War integration, and there wasn't the hiccups that happened during the Cold War integration where the game felt unfinished, even though it was released for 8 months prior and those 8 months were perfect, and then Cold War's integration hit and the game completely fell apart. If it wasn't for that, the unbalanced metas or the hackers in the game, it would be S tier, but those things are stopping me from putting it S tier. For me, it's just a super addicting experience. I think really good COD players enjoy Warzone because it challenges us and it's just fun overall. I can die like 20 games in a row right off the start, and I'll always want to reset and just get a better gameplay. And even when I win and I'm satisfied and I'm like, thank God I finally won, I sit there and I'm like, let's play again, let's challenge ourselves, let's use ballistic knives and shields only, let's do some crazy thing. Warzone is just the replayability for Warzone is incredible, and I'm putting it A tier. If you ask me in 5 years from now, after Warzone's died down, where would I put it? I might put it B tier, but since it is current and happening now and I'm enjoying it and I always have really enjoyed it, I'm throwing that A tier. And that is my tier list for ranking every Call of Duty based off of their multiplayer experience only. I'm gonna give it a month or two before I rank every game based off of everything combined, so campaign, multiplayer, and zombies, because if you add campaign, multiplayer, Spec Ops, zombies into a lot of these games, my rankings change drastically. But for now, we will just do multiplayer, and we'll do other tier lists in the future, like ranking every single zombies map of all time, ranking every single game based on zombies, and you guys kind of know the stereotypical zombies and Call of Duty tier lists that a lot of people are doing. I plan to do this in the future. Also, I do want to mention really quick, I did not include Call of Duty Mobile because I've played it for like 2 hours when it came out a couple of years ago. I'm not doing Call of Duty Online because I've never played that. If there's a Call of Duty that you guys have played that is not on my multiplayer tier list, it's because I straight up haven't played it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you agree with my list, if you disagree, what your lists look like compared to mine. Leave a like if you guys do enjoy, dislike if you didn't. There's no hard feelings. Subscribe for more videos in the future, and I'm about to head out, and if there is one, I'll see ya in the next one. Peace.